What's up, everyone? My name is Nelson, coming to you from the top of Chicago, Illinois, and you are watching the GameFlow Report. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your patience. I know we've been away for a couple weeks, but we're back, and let's talk Week 15, shall we? But before we do, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below what was your highlight from Week 15. Also, follow me on the GameFlow Report on Twitter and Instagram for live updates, reactions, and scores. With that down, let's jump into Thursday night. The Buccaneers versus the Falcons. Tampa Bay, they started off the season hot, 5-1. Since then, they've lost 5 out of their last 6 games. And Week 15 might have been their worst consequence yet. The Atlanta Falcons, already eliminated from playoff contentions, played loose, and it showed. Kirk Cousins looked like daytime Kirk Cousins. He was 30 for 44, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, all of them to Kyle Pitts. He had a monster game, 11 catches for 156 yards. B.J. Robinson ran all over the Bucs defense. He had 175 total yards this day. On the other side, Baker Mayfield. He wasn't right. He actually came into this game limping. He was only 19 to 34 for 277 and 2 touchdowns and 1 costly interception late in the game. He got connected with Mike Evans, who had 6 catches for 132, but he also left with an injury after being injured most of this season. We hope that he gets better real soon. And that's back-to-back losses that the Buccaneers have committed. They are in danger of losing that top spot in the NFC South. But the Panthers, they did not do themselves any favor after the Bucs lost to the Falcons. Let's talk about the Panthers because they also played the Saints. And once again, a playoff contender loses to a division opponent with nothing to lose. The Carolina Panthers couldn't capitalize against the last place New Orleans Saints. Bryce Young was inefficient. He was 15 to 24 for 163, 1 touchdown, 49 yards rushing. Rico Dowdle, he added a touchdown. Same thing with Jalen Cocker. Found the end zone, both of them, but it wasn't enough. The story was Tyler Shook. He has the most wins out of any rookie who started this season. He played his tail off today, fighting for a future roster spot. He was 24 for 32. 272 yards in the air, 1 touchdown pass, and 32 yards rushing. He also ran around the Bucs defense last week as well, showing that he has some spunk. And just like that, the Panthers drop 1. They move down to 7-7, just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who reclaim that NFC South top spot. And guess what, guys? The Bucs, the Panthers, they play each other 2 times within the next 3 weeks. The NFC South has 1 spot left. Let's see who's going to take it. I hope the Bucs take it because there's no reason why the Panthers should be gaining momentum like this. But Baker Mayfield has a lot to answer for. Moving on to another chaotic and confusing division, the AFC North. We're talking Bengals versus the Ravens. Another division that seems like no one wants to win. The Baltimore Ravens sitting at 6-7 before this game, desperately needing a win after they got embarrassed by the Bengals just a few weeks ago, and they delivered that embarrassment back, winning 24-0. Joe Burrow, he struggled to say the least. He was 25 of 39 for 225 yards and 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick 6. Kyle Van Noy picked off Burrow and then laterally hands off to the safety, and he takes it to the house for the TD. It was a vintage Ravens defense moments. Almost looked like Ed Reed for a second. We love to see it. Lamar didn't light up the stat sheet, but he was 8 for 12 for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry had 100 yards on 11 carries, and the Ravens eliminate the Bengals from playoff contention. The Ravens play the Patriots, now sitting at 7-7 next week. This is the biggest test for the Ravens this season. Lamar Jackson needs to show up. He hasn't been running the ball as efficiently as we'd like to see. And the Patriots, they had a bummer loss to the Bills, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I hope to see Action Jackson back. Meanwhile, the Bengals, another season without making the playoffs. Joe Burrow is going to continue to finish off the season. I'm not sure why. It seems a waste. However, he has been talking a little sus on whether he is enjoying the game of football or not. Let's see if this is another Andrew Luck moment. Speaking of the AFC North, we got the Steelers versus the Dolphins. The Pittsburgh Steelers just took care of business at home in cold weather, and we know how Miami performs in cold weather. Tua Tagovailoa, he was unwatchable. 22 for 28 for 253, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. He now leads the league in interceptions with 15. Aaron Rodgers, he was as sharp as a tack. 23 for 27, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh Steelers moved to 8-6 and sit atop of the AFC North with no one breathing down their neck other than the struggling Ravens. As we mentioned beginning of the season, the Steelers looked like they were going to walk away with this division, and it looks as so. With a couple bumps in the road, looks like the Steelers are taking away the AFC North unless the Ravens can respond with a big win over the Patriots. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins have announced that Tua is not only the backup, but he got moved to 3rd string. Quinn Ewers, Texas University Quinn Ewers, is taking the start, and Zach Wilson is officially the backup. They labeled Tua as the emergency 3rd string QB. We're going to see who failed who. Did Tua fail the Dolphins, or did the Dolphins fail Tua? I look forward to talking about that in another video. Let's move on to Eagles versus Raiders. The Eagles, the only team alive in the NFC East. They entered this game on a 3-game losing streak, and they took it out on the Raiders, showing no mercy. They win 31-0. Jalen Hurts, 12 of 15 for 175, 3 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley added to the score. Dallas Goedert had 2 of those touchdowns from Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles dominated from start to finish. The Raiders, they were completely lifeless. Kenny Pickett, he threw for 64 yards, and he was sacked 4 times. Nothing coming out of that offense. The Raiders are again looking for a restart, and Philly get a much-needed reset win. Moving on to the AFC South, the Texans, the Houston Texans, are getting hot at the right moment. Arizona, they're done with Kyler Murray. Look forward to talking about that in a separate video. The failure of Kyler Murray, or the failure of the Cardinals organization. CJ Stroud, he had one of the best games of his season. 22 for 29 for 260, 3 touchdowns. 2 of those touchdowns were to Nico Collins, and Josh Jordan added 101 yards rushing. Houston moves up to 9-7, and they are nipping at the heels of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Speaking of such Jaguars, they played the Jets, and Trevor Lawrence probably had the best performance out of Week 15 from any QB. He had 330 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing TD. The Jacksonville Jaguars earn their 10th win of the season and sit at the top of the AFC South and currently holds the 3 seed. They're quietly moving up to the AFC, and I love to see it. Love to see it for Trevor Lawrence himself. I know we had some questions about him early on in the season, but it seems that he cleaned it up, his play, and I can't wait to see him in the playoffs. Moving on to the talk of the week, Chargers versus Chiefs. The Kansas City came into this game struggling, and they left this game struggling. Patrick Mahomes was 189 yards passing, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times, and then tore his ACL. He had to leave the game. Gardner Minshew finished, but the Chiefs, along with Mahomes, they are done for the season. For the first time in years, the AFC will not run through Kansas City. The Chargers put them away 16-13, and they moved to 10-4. A new era, possibly in the NFL, with no Kansas City standing in the way of Josh Allen, of Lamar Jackson, now Bo Nix. We'll talk about him in a minute. Speaking of the Denver Broncos, they are currently the hottest team in the NFL. Coming into this week against the Packers, they are on a 10-game winning streak, and Bo Nix may have had his best game of the season so far against the Packers. He had 302 passing yards and 4 TDs. The Broncos defense was suffocating Jordan Love all game. He threw 2 interceptions, a rare sighting from Jordan Love himself. But the biggest loss from Green Bay was the fact that Micah Parsons goes down with a torn ACL. His season is done. Christian Watson also went down with an injury. It looks like he's day-to-day, but it looks like he hurt his chest. We hope to see him come back and have a full, healthy recovery. But Denver moves on to 12-2, and they clinch a playoff spot in the AFC. Let's move on to the Bears, who played in a frozen Soldier Field below zero wind chill, and Caleb Williams didn't flinch a bit. Caleb, Iceman Williams, he was 17 for 28 for 272 and 2 touchdowns. That second touchdown to DJ Moore was sensational. From the 30-yard line, a literal frozen rope between defenders. What a beautiful throw. The Bears defense picked off Shedeur Sanders 3 times and sacked him 5 times. With Green Bay losing, the Bears are back atop of the NFC North. Sitting at a 2 seed, Ben Johnson has fully turned around the Chicago Bears, and that is what good coaching does. There's no coincidence that when you take a coach like Ben Johnson, when you take a coach like Mike Vrabel, when you take a coach like Sean Payton, they turn organizations completely around. And that is what we're seeing from Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. What an incredible team. The rivalry will continue between the Bears and the Packers this weekend for their second showdown. And honestly, I hope for a third one. I pray that the Packers make the playoffs so we can see part 3. Now, some of the major questions that I have coming into this week. The Colts, they were the number 1 seed not long ago. With them out of the picture, the Bills need to make a statement. I'm going to be making a video about that, as I mentioned, about the big opportunity that the Bills need to take now. Otherwise, Sean McDermott, he may be on the hot seat on his way out of Buffalo. Who's going to take advantage of that spot? Who is actually going to win the NFC South between the Buccaneers and the Panthers? They both don't seem like they want to win. I anticipate that the Bucs win, but if they keep fumbling around, the Panthers just might sneak in and be a one-and-done playoff team. Can Green Bay win without Micah Parsons? We'll see. He has made an impact throughout the season when it counts the most in some games. He has that speed coming out of the corner. However, we'll see how much of an impact that affects the Packers defense moving forward. Miami is out. Tua is now the 3rd string. Let's see what Quinn Ewers does. Maybe it's a new chapter in Miami. However, the offense does need to be addressed. With Mahomes out, the Bills, again, need to make that playoff push. I have that in twice in my notes. And finally, the Rams. Who's going to take down the Rams? They are currently the number 1 seed in the NFC West. You need to score more than 40 points to hang with the MVP front-runner, Matthew Stafford. It's tough to see Devontae Adams go down, but with Puka Nacua there, I think that they'll rest Devontae Adams until the start of the playoffs. And if they get them both healthy, I can't see anyone stopping the Rams this year. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GameFlow Report. Make sure you follow me on the GameFlow Report on Twitter and Instagram for live updates, live scores, and my reaction. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below your highlights from Week 15, and I will see you on the next episode.